What is up, guys? Ginn here. Welcome to the Bags Richards podcast. I am here with Enterprise Elite, aka Joe Riley and John Brody. And I can tell you, you probably have never seen their face, maybe, but you have definitely watched them on social media all about wholesaling real estate. So if you're on YouTube, you've probably never heard of these people, but if you're on TikTok or Instagram, you definitely have. And the really cool part about these guys is they're just getting started on YouTube and they are clearing over $1 million a year, and they're growing like crazy, and they're about to take over more about how to wholesale real estate and like that. So what I want to do today is just interview them and basically see how they are making millions of dollars and how you can do the same exact thing. The thing about these two is they make a lot of money wholesaling, but they only have really 60 seconds to share it. So what I'm going to do is just steal their entire business model and give it to you guys absolutely for free today, so you could start getting rich wholesaling real estate. So Joe and John, what's going on, guys?
What's up, my brother? We're excited.
We are excited.
So we're pumped up for this. And so if you're watching this, you're probably like, who are these guys? Or you've seen them, right? And as you know, people are very quick to judge. They see two rich men in their Maybachs and their Lamborghinis and their fancy things. And a lot of people kind of roll their eyes and look. Then some people are like, wow, you know what? That's inspiring me. I don't have a Lambo. Maybe I should start doing it, right? And the thing is, we can get all about how to get rich and cool. And, you know, we could all talk about how sick it is to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But it's more about like what you're actually doing, because what's more impressive to me is the strategies you guys are doing, because it's not like out there, right? It's not viral to say, oh, this is a list I do and I do well. It's kind of more into like your Discord and stuff, but I want to hear more about how you guys got started in this business, how you're doing so well, and how you're going to continue doing well. So let's start with both. Let's start with Joe, and then we'll get with John. Kind of, what is your story getting into real estate wholesaling?
Okay, so my story when I first started was I got fired from my 5th job in a row. I was working at the Funny Bone Comedy Club, is what it was called. I was a waiter, and first my uncle fired me from a construction job because I sucked as an employee. I hated taking orders, and then 5 jobs later I'm fired again. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I really can't have a boss, clearly, so I better start something myself. So I just hopped on YouTube, and I was just like, basically like, how do I fucking get rich? I was 20 years old. And I found out that 90% of millionaires were created through real estate. So I was like, okay, so why would I do something other than what 90% of millionaires do, right? It's just simple math if you think about it. And so I was like, okay, but I don't have any money. So is there a way for me to get into real estate without money? And after a little bit of research, I came across wholesaling. And I believe my first video I ever saw was Nick Estes, actually. And he's made $14,000 on a direct mail campaign. And that really intrigued me because I was like, he wrote a letter. He wrote a little note and got 14 grand. I want to see if I can do that. And so I pulled a list of pre-foreclosures in Connecticut, in specifically Vernon, Connecticut. And because I figured they were the most motivated. And so that list got me 2 deals. It was only 150 people on that list. I just started, guys. I don't want you to overthink before you start. Just start, and you'll learn from doing rather than trying to overanalyze everything. So I just started. I printed the list as an Excel sheet, and when somebody didn't answer the phone, I would just say not answered yet and just like have a box for that. And if they said no, I would just cross them out. So this way I knew I squeezed all the juice out of the list, right? Like a lemon. And so I got 2 deals from that list. One was for $50,000 and one was for $5,000. And so my first deal closed 30 days after I found out about wholesaling for $50,000. And from then I was fucking hooked. Because I was holding the check at 20 years old. Well, I think I had just turned 21 when I got the check. And I'm thinking to myself, I used to work all year for this, and I just made this out of thin air from making a couple phone calls that people were afraid to make. And so Yeah, that's like my first deal. And then, I was 3 years in when I met John. I was averaging about $80,000 a month at the time, spending about $25,000 a month on marketing to make that 80,000. So pretty good return on investment. When I met John, John knew how to get eyeballs on social media. I guess I'll let John take over for.
So when I met him, honestly, at that point, I have tried to do everything. I had a pretty successful clothing brand, but I was falling out a little bit with my old business partner and my team just through, personal issues. And then I was really at my lowest point in my life. I didn't even really think real estate wholesaling or real estate in general would be at the forefront of my life. And then I found myself on YouTube as well. Like, how the fuck do I get rich right now? And then through people knowing both Joe and I got introduced to Joe from one of his cousins, actually. And she was like, oh, you should meet my cousin. He does the real estate wholesaling thing. And I was like, I did hear about that, and I do think it's a scam. So, yeah, I would love to meet him. We ended up having one of the best times ever. Like, we partied all night, but one thing that was mainly important through this night was business. We talked about business ideas, real estate, what we both do, our experience. And I literally at one point was like, yo, let's stop talking. If we don't link tomorrow, like,
this is just a bullshit.
This is just a drunk conversation. And then, no, the next day, Joe pulls up, picks me up in his old S63 at the time. And at that point, I had like a fucking E36, guys. If you're into cars, I had like a drifted out, no AC, it was completely gutted. And so this is a turning point in my life. And I was like, if real estate is as real as it is, dude, I want to see it firsthand. Joe literally took me on like a field trip of deal here, deal here. We go back to his house, the whiteboard filled with 8 deals. And I'm like, wait, so you're buying all of these houses? He's like, no, I'm not buying them. Investors are buying them. Here's how. And from then, obviously, we built our business. We built an inbound system where deals come to us. But I was able to see that real estate wholesaling is probably one of the quickest ways to make like a large amount of cash, whether it's check form or wire transfer. And since then, we've been closing, especially with our community. So it's been a roller coaster.
Dude, it's just think of how much money you have to make $100,000 on a clothing brand. Like net.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's insane. Yeah. Oh, now it's impossible, bro.
And minus off returns.
Yeah, this was 2019. We did have a good thing going. I had a good team. And we were super, super like viral. Like our marketing has always been top tier.
Which is why I chose him as a business partner, by the way.
Yeah, so if you guys ever see like Joe on like Instagram or TikTok live, imagine doing that, but like selling hoodies,
And this is a key point that I want the viewers to take away is when you're choosing a business partner, do not choose your friend.
Oh, yeah.
You choose a skill set that goes well with yours, okay?
Yeah.
They have to be almost be opposites, right? You both provide different value to the table. When you're confused with a business partner, and I've made this mistake, when you're confused about whose job is who, then you create drama in a relationship like that.
100%.
And so I've been through it. John's been through it. I'm not sure, Zach, if you've been through that, but I've seen a lot of friends that have been through the same thing. And it's something that you should take away. I know a lot of you guys are young.
Yeah.
You're choosing your path. Do not choose to partner with your friend. Choose somebody that has some type of track record with a skill set where both of you bring something different to the table. I brought the real estate knowledge. He brought the viralness. And then now together we teach our students how to do this business, and we partner with our students. So if we didn't have a viral reach, we couldn't created a 7-figure business without our combination of skill sets. I had 800 followers on Instagram. I didn't have TikTok downloaded on my phone.
And I thought wholesaling was a fucking scam.
But then once he saw it was real and I saw he could go viral, we combined those and we created a multi-million-dollar business in the first year.
My best advice is 1 + 1 has to equal 3, not 2. And what I mean by this, you both make 100 grand and you go together to make 2. No, it's got to be like 1 + 1 has to equal 4 or 5. And that's how I do it with my dad, Rick, right? We ended up doing it separately and we went together. We blew it up because we had both different skill sets. But let's bring that back. Okay. You're making 80 grand a month, spending 25 grand. What by yourself? By what, 21 years old?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Probably 22 by the time I started. No. when I met John 23. By this time, I started doing $80,000 a month consistently.
Okay.
What, 2 years in, I was probably.
What were you doing? Was this in Connecticut? Like, what was the marketing system? All this stuff.
Oh, this was texting at the time.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
texting was. I was using a software called Amplify My Business for texting. They went out of business. So, but at the time when I met John, that was like literally like my entire business was. I was spending $25,000 a month on basically data, from PropStream, and so. That was really my biggest expense, and obviously the employees to do the texting. So here's how it worked. I'm going to give the sauce away because maybe people can see some insight. You're not usually going to be able to text like this the way I used to. I don't know of a way to do it, but what we did do was at the time, I would text. You would say Zach would get a text that said, "Hey Zach," and what are you going to say to that, Zach?
Oh yeah.
If you get a text saying, "Hey Zach,"
who is this?
Yeah,
who is this?
Literally, who is
We had a
this?
50% response rate in the marketing game. That's fucking insane. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
So 50% response from everybody we contacted. Who's this? Whatever. That's usually the biggest. And then automatically 2 minutes later, so it seemed human, they would get a text after that said, "My name is Aura with Enterprises Elite. I'm interested in purchasing your property at 123 Main Street. Have you ever considered an offer, or have you ever considered selling?" Now, we could have different variations of that message, but the key here is, guys, their response to this question is the difference between two words, a prospect and a lead. So I want you to keep in mind when there's a prospect, that's a list of potential sellers. A pre-foreclosure list, that's not a list of leads, that's a list of prospects. The difference between a prospect and a lead is what their answer is to that question. If they say yes, they're interested in an offer, that is a lead. And that is automatically captured into your CRM, your system, customer relationship management software. Now, the way that you control your leads is you have them in your system, and then you have a drip sequence to follow up with them. Now, I don't want to confuse people, but the whole point is that's how my business was running at the time. Was we would spend money on texting, generating leads, and every lead would receive an offer from an acquisitions manager. Okay? So that's how you build a business in this game off market. Now, I know a lot of guys, I'm sure you do too, Zach, that do this on market game, and I don't know anything about that. I've always done off market. I can't even advise on how to do those deals. I like off market because our average spread is $25,000, and there's no agents cock blocking deals, and there's no we need proof of funds. There's no earnest money. We don't even have earnest money deposits on our contracts. 99 times out of 100, we're not even putting any money down. And it's a common misconception that you need money down. No, you don't. You just need to have the right documents. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I'm just trying to get value as possible.
I agree 100%. There's a couple of things here. First and foremost, the on-market, off-market thing. Let's do this. Can you find me 100 guys who are making over $1 million a year on market? You can't. I could find you 1,000 off-market.
I can't. I don't know too.
Maybe you and you.
So
Richard, baby.
That's all I could say on that end. Now, this is hilarious on the texting side because we literally do the same thing, except we both came up with our own conclusions because we found that you get better delivery doing that. So what we do is we still do this. Hey, I just drove by your house. Is everything okay? That's what we do instead, and that's working really well for us. But the secret now for texting, just so you guys know, you can tell your students is, so we use X Leads, right, for our texting. Now, the cool part about it is we are able to change the opt-out language. So I actually learned this from the political election. So I'm not getting political, but I found out the Republicans used to text me for funding and the Democrats text me for funding. And the Democrats on the opt-out language, you have to have the word stop on it. And so the Democrats would text me, give us money, blah, 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 stop Republicans. That was the last end. And it triggered the opt-out language. So what we put is stop using realtors as the end. And it doesn't look at, that's how we got the opt-out language all fixed. But dude, that is genius. We call it double whammy. But man, that absolutely insane. And I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that. So That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's you guys. Let me tell you something. Anybody watching this video, congratulations. You're fucking smart just for clicking this, because that right there, I just learned something very valuable. And you gotta stay a student of the game. Zach, I hope you don't mind if I use that.
I tell everyone the truth is the truth.
X
The truth is the truth. Yeah, I'll help you out. All I can tell you is the truth is the truth. I don't own the truth. That is the double whammy is the best way. So I don't own any of all my info is free. So here's the thing about you guys, right? I'm gonna get into this more, but like you look at you guys, and a lot of people think, oh, this guy is a scammer who does this, blah blah blah. He's gonna sell me a $15,000 course, and if you guys had a $20,000 course, I would not be talking to you. The reason you make most of your money is the same way I make most of my money, JV deals. The way that you approach it's a little different. You kind of have to get them to be in the Discord, and then you educate them, then you do it. Richard Taylor's like this too, and this guy's not a scammer. He's like $20 a month. I think yours is 50, and then it goes up, right? But like that's not a crazy amount of money, and then you can learn, and then boom, you can send the JVs. And as a guy that takes anyone's JV deal for free, I get it.
Skin in the game too.
It's a pain in the butt. But that is the secret. That's what all the young wholesalers are doing. They're making millions. I make millions. You make millions. All these other kids, I'm calling them kids under the age of 30, are making millions off of JVs because they give info out and then they just get the JV deals, right? We're not the guys selling you $15,000 programs anymore because we can make $15,000 on one JV deal. And I don't have to do a weekly coaching call one-on-one with you. Yeah. And so everyone wants to know, well, like what's Joe's catch? What's John's catch? Like they're trying to get deals from you.
Oh yeah,
I'm not trying to like.
That's why we don't need to charge $15,000, and you don't either. See, a lot of these older guys, they're like in the game, and I know you know who I'm talking about. They do that. They charge $10,000-$15,000 for a course that has the same info that we're providing for the low, and the reason why we do it is to actually do deals with them versus they do it to just sell the information. So the information, luckily, when we basically give it out, it comes back to us. It's the law of reciprocity. The more you help people, the more you get in return. So I think that's something everybody should keep in mind in business in general, is just help as many people as you can. It always comes back.
It always comes back.
That's the point. And so the reason why I gave that sauce out, you get, because then you go do a deal, then send it to me, right? Boom. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Great to go. Okay. So that's kind of what you guys, now you started doing it together and you're doing this now. So obviously I know you're getting a lot of the JV deals, but you're teaching these people to get the deals, right? So how are you getting those people to start doing deals?
So cold calling is the main thing. Leaving good voicemails is what we notice gets a good solid voicemail that really intrigues people is the key. That separates the successful students from the non-successful students.
So what's a good voicemail?
A good voicemail is something that really makes the person want to call back. Like you call them, when you leave a voicemail, you're like, hey, almost urgent sounding, like, hey, I saw your house. I really want to make an offer on it. It's the one on, and then you say the street name, just the street name. If you want an offer, call me back. Boom. It's simple. It's like, oh wait, they know my house. Why do they want to make an offer? Like it starts a curiosity. So the higher quality the voicemail, the better you get inbound calls. And here's the difference. An inbound lead versus an outbound lead is huge. So you're creating inbound leads with good voicemails because those leads, they're taking action on an actionable step towards selling their house. When they're calling you back, they know they're calling you because you're interested in making an offer. Right. So it's all about intention. If a seller is calling you and it's a positive conversation, they might be calling you to say, never fucking call me again. Don't just don't call them again. Yeah. No big deal. It's a numbers game. But when they do call and it is, oh, you know what? Yeah, I would entertain an offer. Now you got to prioritize that lead. That's a hotter lead than, say, somebody who answers the cold call on the first ring. So getting those inbound calls is really key. And that's something that we preach to our students.
One of those strategies is bandit signs. So obviously we teach kids how to go and go to a populated area and put up "We Buy Houses" signs, tracking their number to a dialer, and then getting inbound leads that way. These people are motivated. Clearly they need to sell because they're calling a number that says "We Buy Houses." And we're also teaching students how to close on those.
And to give this people watching this a little bit more game on bandit signs, 500 signs for me equals 3 deals. Okay. When I first started in wholesaling, A few deals in, I bought 500 signs, and I got 3 deals from it. And that's $500 from dirtcheapsigns.com. I'm not affiliated. That's just what I used. And that was a $500 expense that brought me back $75,000. So
crazy return.
You know,
John, you'd appreciate this. I made my first $100,000 in wholesaling in high school only off of bandit signs. Now, I didn't
fucking way, dude.
And here's even the crazier part. I would go to my Saturday wrestling tournaments, and they'd be all over the state, but they'd be mostly my local area. Yeah. And what I do is I'm cutting weight. I'm super tired. I drive to the tournament. I go like 30 minutes before. I put a sign out outside the high school, and that's what I used to do. And so every high school I went to in my area, I put bandit signs outside. And apparently the high schools in Florida, they're right by the intersections. And that's where I used to put my bandit signs. First deal, 20 grand. Next deal, 25. 20 grand. I was making 20 grand a month in high school.
High school, dude.
And I go from my junior year wrestling, I was like, I think 30-10. And then I was about to go stupid. And then I end up making 100 grand. And then I just stopped caring about wrestling.
Yeah. I would too.
My wrestling coach is making 40 grand a year. Like, I don't even care.
You can't even look him in the face, like straight face, dude.
I don't care anymore. I once had a match, and then like I had a bandit sign call, and I'm like, gotta go. And I just answered the call. And it was just funny, but like bandit signs changed my entire life. So do not overlook them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I talk about bandit signs all day.
So
but
I love that. I never knew that about you, Zach. And I absolutely love that story because it's like now we have 2 successful stories here of people who started big successful businesses with bandit signs. And now, do I still go out and put bandit signs out? No, but did it jumpstart me? Fuck yeah. And I've reallocated those funds towards more marketing and different deal avenues. So you guys should take notes because clearly that's a winning strategy. For those of you guys that have a little bit more time, maybe not a lot of money, but you're dedicated to doing the marketing and getting those inbound leads.
Yep.
So let's talk about cold calling. So I'm not here to throw shots at anyone, but if you look at a lot of wholesaling people, a lot of them say cold calling's dead. It doesn't work. It's stupid. You need to spend $9 grand a month on, SEO leads, and that's the only way you can do deals. And I always talk to the actual people, like the actual newbies. Nobody has $8 grand starting out for Facebook ads. Cold calling is the way that I've always found. So right?
It is.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the way.
So
it's the way to start.
What's your strategy for somebody who's broke? Like no money at all. How do I get it?
Okay, you're broke. You have no money at all. You get a hold of a list of pre-foreclosures. The way I know how to do it is you go on PropStream. If you really have no money, just utilize a 7-day free trial. Okay, pull that list of pre-foreclosures. And if you don't want to spend 12 cents per lead on skip tracing, then you just do it on truepeoplesearch.com. You have zero money at all, truepeoplesearch.com. And that's how you're going to get the phone numbers. Now, keep in mind, on truepeoplesearch.com, it's not as accurate, and it takes about a minute or maybe 30 seconds a lead to actually get that phone number. Yeah. And you have to try multiple phone numbers. You're going to get a hold of people, but you're going to spend a lot of time. Yeah. Okay, you're either going to spend time or you're going to spend money. And you'll notice in this business, having money saves you a lot of time. So you're paying for it either way.
Yeah.
And money and time are kind of go hand in hand with this type of game. But utilizing tools like PropStream to pull a list and then getting those phone numbers, and then make as many offers as you can.
So Joe said, my bad. Joe said truepeoplesearch.com, which is free, but a way higher quality for somebody who has $10 to spare. Use Ben Verified. It's within seconds. You'll get high quality data for literally $10 a month.
Not affiliated.
Not affiliated. I wish. Please reach out to us, Ben Verified.
But yeah,
I'm not even joking. To even put this up more, there's another website. When I started YouTube, I started getting a bigger following. People started calling me, and then people actually came to my house, and they're looking for coaching. And I'm like, "How are you getting this info?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not on True People Search. I'm nowhere on the internet." They're like, "Oh, I use cyber background checks." I kid you not, this is recorded. You guys should look you guys up on cyberbackgroundchecks.com. That's another one. It's insane. And I kid you not, look up anyone you want. It's insane free website too. So that I'll add that one in there. Love cyber background checks.
Hell yeah.
They're great, man. But yeah, so cold calling. So pre-foreclosures, I never had good success calling a pre-foreclosure. Texting them in voicemails have always been my thing. But obviously they're lists. And so you're calling that. What's your script for cold calling?
Well,
we have a script. I mean,
the script. What is it like? When you say what is it like? Do you want us to go through every bit of it, or like what do you want?
It's a longer script, so it's like How do you call? You're calling. How do you figure out they're going to be a deal or not on the call? Like, are you asking about interest? Like,
that's a great question. I love that, and that's a key point of the script. So, tone is actually the most important part of this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're asking a seller why they're selling, that's the key, most important information you're going to pull from that phone call, the motivation. Now, the way that you ask the motivation is super important. And if you ask it wrong, you're going to get a what's called a smoke screen. So they're going to give you a fake reason because they think you're trying to use it against them. But to avoid a smoke screen, you have to sound genuinely curious. And here's what you do. You compliment the property. Hey, Zach, that sounds like a great property. I mean, I love the school system. We want to buy in that area. Why would you even consider selling that? See, the thing is, now you're skeptical of why they would even consider it, and they feel like they have to give you a legitimate response as to why. Versus when you go through like it's a script and you sound like a robot, why are you considering selling it? Why the fuck do you need to know, motherfucker? Yeah. Give me an offer, right? So, excuse my French, by the way. I am French, so
clearly Irish by the tattoo.
But so guys, that's really what the seller is going to be thinking. Why would you need to know, right? Why you're trying to use that against me? You don't want to give that impression in any way. You want to genuinely sound curious when you're asking the reason why they're selling.
So you want the seller versus the world. You're on his side. You want to see him win.
Build rapport. And also, guys, another part of when you're calling sellers that I want you to keep in mind is when you're making an offer, you're still going to remain the good guy. How? When you're making a low ball offer, how are you going to remain the good guy? Because you're going to say it just like this. Typically, my financial department likes to be anywhere from $100,000 to $120,000 for a property like this. Can you see yourself in that range? It's not you. It's your financial department. Typically, that's where they like to be. Okay? You don't want to be the one breaking the rapport with the seller. So when you're making offers and when you're finding out the motivation, keep those tonalities and those tips in mind.
You're just the worker in the business.
You don't want to be the decision maker. Exactly. When you're going to get that contract signed, you're not the decision maker either. Your financial department is. Let me see if I can get that approved. I'm going to work for you. I know your number's a little high. They have to feel like they got the highest number they could.
Yep.
Department. Let me see if I can get. I know they want to be around 1 to 120. I know you're at 140. Meanwhile, in your head, 140 is a fucking deal. But you can't sound like that. You have to say, well, you know, let me see what I can get done for you. I like you. I want to get this done for you. Let me talk to them, see if I can convince them.
Put them on hold back on the phone.
Minutes. Congratulations. Somehow I was able to get them to come up to that 140 number. So are you in front of a computer right now? And you want to get them to walk through that contract and close them right then and there. So that's kind of our script. I mean, those are some of the key points of our script. There is those key factors. It helps a lot when you use them, and trust me, I've learned the hard way.
I like it. You know, I would love to just destroy and say that's terrible, doesn't work. I like the way you do it. We do it. I do it slightly different the way I teach people, but the concept is there. You never want to be the bad person, right? I look at it as I call it good cop, bad cop, because that's essentially what it is. You're always the good person, and then we have the evil finance department, right? I'm more simple. I don't do that. I always just say, hey, hey Joe, I'm talking to my partner John, and I'll talk to John and see if John's okay with it. Then we could be both mad at John together, but like it's the same way, except you're going to go on there. A lot of people say, oh, that's a fake underwriter. That's fake. I mean, technically John's your underwriting department, so you're not really lying on that part. And a lot of people think it's lying. It's not lying. The only reason I want everyone, because you can use their method, but if you think in your mind that you're lying, you're not going to sound good. Once you lie, you start your confidence gets destroyed. That tonality gets beat up. You actually legitimately need to believe that you have a finance department and you have a partner, because you actually do. When you don't actually believe, confidence is broken. Then you sound like a twig.
Well, guys, your financial department is really your end buyer. I mean, that's who your financial department is. They're the ones making the decision on what the property's fucking worth. Okay, you can't sell a deal unless it's actually a deal.
Right.
So to even spend time locking up a property, you need to be in the proper range. So your financial department could be fucking really anybody who is making a financial decision on that property. So it's a department. It's
you could be in our Discord
open for interpretation,
or Zach's Discord, and we're your financial department at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know,
Plus you're going to underwrite the deal with them, right?
Most likely, yeah. Or they're going to use the app, either way.
Right. And so, okay. So I like that too. It's really good. So the cold calling's nice. I like how you do it, the voicemails. I like how you're doing the offer and you're doing that. So are you teaching people virtual wholesaling, local? Like what's kind of the vibe that you're teaching new people?
We're teaching virtual wholesaling. You don't need to, I mean, you can do both with the way we teach it.
Doesn't hurt,
It doesn't, like, you don't ever need to go to the property. If you live in a state where you can, do it, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't, no big deal. You can easily have boots on the ground. We have iPhones, guys. We have eyes right here, everywhere. So you don't need to actually physically be there. You need somebody with one of these devices to show you the property with video, FaceTime, whatever it is. When you're having a buyer walk through the property, when you're not in the area, this is the biggest difference between virtual wholesaling and just normal wholesaling in your state. You need to have somebody there to make sure that your buyer and the seller are not talking numbers and trying to cut you out of the deal, because that does happen if you're not careful. And if you're worried about that happening, use what's called an affidavit of memorandum so that nobody can actually cut you out of the deal. And you do something called clouding title. So they would need your permission to actually end up closing on that.
You can also sell that piece of paper too if you wanted. You don't have to, but
I just got $5,000 from a memorandum from 2 years ago.
Exactly.
But I will tell you, okay, you guys are actually saying complete facts right now, but I will let everybody know, if you're an 18-year-old kid and you're broke and you cloud a title and the guy's uncle is like this hotshot lawyer and it's like a 90-year-old woman, don't do it. It's like someone like you that has the money, you're going to win any lawsuit in a clouded title. It's when you don't have the money, it gets a little weird. So I would definitely just make sure you're doing the right thing, and I would consult your title company about it, but 100%. It's very powerful.
And that, by the way, what you just said, Zach, is do the right thing. I mean, that's key in every part of this business. You should never be operating a business without integrity. Your name can get blacklisted so fucking fast in this game. You do not want to screw anybody over. You're not out to get people. You really do want to find sellers that need your help. Typically, they're procrastinating. They're drowning. They're leaking cash flow every month. They're going to lose. And your job is to help them. And guess what? If they continue doing what they're doing for another 10 years, they're going to continue to lose value. They're paying money in taxes. They're paying money in insurance. They're in pre-foreclosure. Those fees are going up. There's all kinds of situations where people actually need your help. So find those people. Don't find the people that need no help at all and try to screw them over. That's not how you do it.
Let me give another piece of advice for everyone watching. This is insane. There's a couple wholesalers in my market. They'll do like 100, 150 deals a year. Like I got some big boys in my market. This one guy, he puts a memorandum in every property he closes. He's clearing $2 or $3 million a year in assignment fees. But he puts a memorandum on every deal he locks up because he's trying to beat me, right? Wow. And well, because I just kept stealing deals from him, and I'm not sad about it. But here's the thing. He thought he owned me doing this. Guess what happened? I want everyone to understand, if you can find a wholesaler, I know you guys don't do it, but if you can find a wholesaler that does this, look up their company name on public record. You'll find every property they put under contract in the past year. Then look up who bought those transactions, and boom, you stole the guy's entire cash buyers list. Oh, wow. And so if you find a wholesaler that, I'm not saying you do it, and I know you don't do it, but there are people that they memorandum every property. Go and cross-reference when the property's sold, look up who buy it. It's going to be all these cash buyers. You could steal everyone's cash buyers. So so for you guys for JVing, I always look at that stuff. But that's a great advice. The reason I got to mention is because like you're gonna get some 18-year-old that okay, and then they go do it, and then they blame you, and then they say, oh, it's a scam. But okay, that's amazing. Okay, we lock it up there. And so, by the way, you guys have a Discord, so I'm gonna give you some promotion there because I'm gonna ask this: how do I find boots on the ground? So I need to know. How are you doing? What's the sauce on this?
I mean, Discord is the best way. If you're in our Discord, that is the best way to find boots on the ground because
like other people,
you're in the same community, you're doing the same thing. Like
they're just a different market.
Yeah,
$100
if
we've been boots on the ground for a member on 2 deals here in our state.
Yeah,
there we go.
Just because
yeah.
Like, do you tell your people to like pay the boots on the ground?
Yeah.
Well, you can work out whatever deal you want.
That's up to
mean, that's totally up to you. You can pay them $100 flat fee, or you can partner with them. That's up to you too. But if you're near the property, just go do it.
Yeah.
Go get in the field. Go get in front of properties every time you can. I mean, you got to practice this.
Yeah. Especially in the beginning.
Get in front of as many houses as you can. I suggest everybody when you're, especially a beginner, you learn how to calculate repairs. Okay. Learn how to evaluate deals. Learn how to underwrite. Okay. These are the skills that separate the best wholesalers from the terrible ones, right? Is it a deal? Right. When you call a buyer, are they going to answer the phone call? Or are they going to say, no, this is another fucking 90 cents on the dollar waste of time? Because if you do not have a reputation for being able to underwrite deals, meaning evaluate and analyze a deal properly, then nobody's going to answer your phone calls anymore. Okay? So do not call buyers with bad deals. You need to have underwriting. And this is a problem that John and I have witnessed, and I'm sure Zach has witnessed this firsthand, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, how many students do you have that don't know how to underwrite a deal?
Dude, I have a terrible reputation with my people because I will deny most JV deals. And I always tell them, like, okay, when I pick up the phone and my buyers in Houston, they buy it. They don't even question me because I make sure that all my buyers make money on a flip. And if I send your stupid deal,
you're burning the bridge.
I'm going to burn that buyer. And it's the boy that cried wolf. And my buyer knows when Zach calls, it's a deal. And that's why I don't struggle on my dispo. So I spend most of my time underwriting all day, every day with my employees. And so I completely agree.
Zach, we have very similar beliefs with that. I mean, I sell all of my deals in one phone call. I won't call a buyer because my relationship with my buyer is like for whatever deal, it's important to me. It's the most important part of my business is my relationships with my buyers. This way I can dispo. I don't even need really to have a dispo team. I can just make the proper phone call and get it done in one phone call, 30, 40 grand right there. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I ever took a look at shit deals, which is why we created Dossi. I know you just used it before this phone.
I like it.
Guys, Dossi is what we created because this problem we see all the time. People are locking up deals too high. They don't know how to evaluate repairs, and I don't blame them. It's hard to learn how to fucking see what a house needs and put a number to it.
Make a confident offer.
But you can do it in 30 seconds using Dossi. It goes based off of the market and the material and labor rates in that particular market and neighborhood. So it's very, very accurate. And you can see, okay, hey, here you go, cash buyer. You're going to put $45,000 into this house. Okay. And here's what you're going to spend. Here's what you're going to sell it for in mint condition. Here's the proof. Here's the comps. The more evidence you can give your buyer to support your numbers, the quicker they're going to buy the deal, and the more they're going to answer the quicker they're going to answer the phone next time you call with another deal. Does that make sense?
Dude, I agree. My theory on this, and I see it from this is why I'm asking you this, is if you just lowball the seller enough and you just get it at such a stupid low price, it don't even matter at this point. And I've seen you guys post a lot of nice checks, and for like, I see some fat ones, right? You don't get a fat check from just being close to MAO. You bought all the out of that. So let me ask you, what was the largest assignment fee last year?
Last year was probably in November of 2022. We did $500,000 530,000 on one.
That was the biggest of all time. I think he's talking for 24.
2024. Yeah. That was the biggest. And 2024, what was our biggest? Probably 120.
I think it was 120.
Yeah, 125 mine.
We've had quite a few last year, but
that was
120. Right? Yeah.
Dang, what state?
That was Connecticut.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, because we know the market. I mean, listen, Connecticut, that's where we're from. So that's like the best, the fattest deals and the best deals are here for us. I mean, we'll do it nationwide, but like if we're going to get a fat deal, it's going to be.
And there's so much abandoned commercial space here. For anybody watching, you should target this market. It's not touched enough.
You know why? You know the secret? I already know the secret.
What is it? You tell me.
Nobody talks about it. It's not cool.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'm gonna go make $500,000 in Miami virtually wholesaling. No one says Connecticut. My rule for good virtual wholesaling markets is if there's not an NFL or an NBA team, nobody looks at it. Because I look at the average 18-year-old, they're like, how do I know cities? Oh, well, there's an NBA team there. Bro, it's insane. There's a couple good markets in Connecticut that I do very, very, very well in.
That's awesome.
Are really good. I mean, I cracked the code like Hartford, for example. It's like very cheap. And as long as you get out of the hood and you're in like good areas, you crush it. There's no sports team there. And so the average guy doesn't do it. And then when there's no competition, another one's like Manchester, New Hampshire. Nobody really knows about that. Over 250,000 people.
Yeah.
Just most people think they need to live in a big city or do wholesaling in a big city.
No, it's the big cities you get the most competition.
Yeah, that's what I thought starting too.
I really do think the best place to start is your backyard, unless you are one of those big cities.
I agree, man. So I looking at your app, right? It's pretty cool. And so the one thing about it is you have something called an anchor price on that app.
Yes, sir.
So can you explain more about an anchor price? Because I don't use those terms much. So I'd like to hear kind of your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So guys, an anchor price is what I said earlier. You want to start the negotiation low. What you're doing is you're slapping the fucking seller into reality, right? That's and you're starting the negotiation right there, because if you start high, you're going to end higher. Okay, so you got to start as low as you can, but you say it in the smooth way. So our anchor price is typically going to be like 50% of after repair value. So you're gonna say, how do you make an offer of 50 cents on the dollar, right?
Right.
It's the way that I said it earlier. Typically, my financial department likes to be anywhere from 120 to 140 for properties like this. That's what I like to call a soft anchor, right? It's you're starting. This is where I like to be, right? This is not where we are. This is where we typically like to be. But you're saying a number that's, I mean, if you're saying 120, 140, you're probably talking about a 280 house. ARV. It still needs work to get there, but this is going to leave you in a zone where you have your anchor and then you have your maximum allowable offer on Dossi. That's DASI, Deal Analyzing Software Intelligence. It'll give you your repair estimate. It'll tell you your anchor where you start, and then your maximum allowable offer where you end the negotiation based off the repairs of when you're asking that seller on the phone. Hey, what does it need? And here's how you find out the condition, by the way. When you have Dossi pulled up, you just say, hey, I'll even do it real quick.
It's on the App Store and Google Play, by the way.
So it just looks like this. And it's a tool for I believe every wholesaler in every business should be using this, even with their acquisitions managers, because it's the quickest way to get your numbers for a deal. So give me an address, Zach, of a property that needs some work.
Not a potential deal, though. Do something you already did.
Yeah, do a deal you already did or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's do this one. I'm doing all one.
Zach's gonna confirm if the numbers are accurate, guys.
Maybe one you looked at before we did this.
I actually have a decent lead. Okay. So we're gonna do. Let's do an old deal. 3397.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a hard one. 3397 Southwest Sunset Trace Circle.
say that again. Southwest.
So Southwest Sunset Trace Circle.
Trace Circle, Palm City, Florida. Is it a multifamily or a single family?
Single.
Okay. So what does it need in work? Does it need a roof?
What it needed. No roof.
Okay.
Kitchen.
By the way, guys, I want to clarify, and this is before I ask you, this is how you're going to ask the seller. You're going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, if money was no object, what would I need to do to this house to get it HGTV 2025 mint condition? What needs to be done to the house to get it to that number? Okay. Does it need a new roof? No. Okay. What does it need? And by the way, you're putting it into.
So what you should put in is it's like a 1990s house that just is not updated. You know
okay.
I mean?
So does it need windows?
Old person. Huh?
Okay.
Fucking time.
So it needs does it need exterior painting?
Yeah.
Landscaping?
No.
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 Windows?
No.
Okay. Kitchen remodel, probably.
Flooring, all that stuff. Yeah.
How many bathrooms need to be remodeled?
2.
Okay, 2 bathrooms. You guys can see. Okay. Interior painting, yes. Flooring, yes.
Yes.
Electrical, HVAC, plumbing, septic, probably not.
Probably not. No.
Okay. All right. So that's really it for analyzing. Now we can see in real time, we get a $35,000 repair budget. How does that sound?
It's pretty dang good. It depends who you're working with, but like it's pretty dang accurate.
So the kitchen for this property would typically be $12,000. The interior painting would typically be $3,000. Exterior painting $3,900. Flooring $4,700. And the bathrooms will be $6,000 a pop, totaling $12,000. Now that is based off of if you did this property, same amount, same square footage. Okay, this property is 1,300 square feet. If you did a 1,300 square foot property in Boca Raton, Florida, you're going to get a different estimate because the material quality needs to be at a higher rate. So it goes off of the neighborhood. You're never going to get the same bid twice. And if you want to be even more accurate, you can actually scan the room and it'll be even more accurate. But yeah, so that takes 30 seconds on the phone to ask what somebody needs, what the house needs in work, and then analyze the repairs. Now you want to screenshot this and send this to your buyers. Okay, because that's something that they can see as, oh, this is what it's going to cost to get the property into this mint condition. That's going to get it to be worth $330,000 ARV. Would you say?
It's on the market for $324, so pretty much on the dot.
So the wholesaler knows how much they're going to make, and the buyer knows how much they're
I
going to
like
make.
it.
And you're going to start your anchor. This is what Zach was talking about earlier. Your anchor is here, and your maximum offer is here. Okay, so you know if you have a deal or not. Period. Right then and there, 30 seconds. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be a general contractor. You can just know your repairs and where you need to be on that deal instantly. And now your buyers will actually return your phone calls.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. And then it's using a what's the ARV that you got on that one?
330.
Jesus.
331.
Yeah, you're using the same I I'll tell you later about it. But basically one of the data providers you have, Xleads has the same one. But on the back end. So yeah, it's pretty accurate, man. I like it.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and we created this out of necessity. I mean, you know we created it for guys just like you and us, right? Because we get so many JV deals in of people that don't know how to evaluate properties. And it saves us time when we say, hey, did you use Dossi?
Yep.
Okay, what did Dossi say you needed to be in? And are you in that range? Show me,
literally.
Okay, and if they don't show me, I'm not looking anymore. I'm saving myself time because in this business, you got to sift through the sand to get to the gold. The quicker you can sift through the sand to get straight to the gold, the better. The more bullshit you can cut out and ignore, the better. And your buyers are going to think the same way. So you better keep a reputation for actually looking at deals and knowing what real deals are. You're not going to call somebody and say, hey, I have a deal. And they think, okay, dude, there's no profit in this. You left no money on the table for me. I'm going to put in this amount. You were way off and I'm going to sell it for this amount. There's no money. So you should avoid that at all costs. Every beginner. Don't waste Zach's time. Don't waste our time. Don't waste your buyer's time. Evaluate deals properly.
I want to
And now
say
there's
something
technology
too.
for that.
I want to say something. So the technology kind of stemmed from me being a beginner. I want you guys to embrace being a beginner because there's a lot of things that you can kind of change for the industry. When I met Joe, this process of analyzing a deal, tell them really quick how your process was analyzing a deal before we created Dossi app in terms of what you had to do to figure out your offer price.
Oh, yeah. So I used to train my acquisition managers to do something. It was not nearly as accurate, but it kind of worked. It was better than nothing. It was called the 10-10-5 theory. Okay. So basically, I invented it. It was a kitchen, an average kitchen is $10,000. An average roof is $10,000 for an average property. And then $5,000 for every other item you can think of. $5,000 for
pretty good. I like that.
$5,000 for flooring, $5,000 for plumbing, $5,000 for electric, $5,000 for landscaping. That was kind of like a general rule of thumb that I taught my acquisition managers. It's not super accurate, but it's better than nothing. When you're on the phone and you ask the seller that question, you can just 5, 10, 15, 20, right? So that's what I used to do.
So being a beginner, when I partnered up with Joe, like we explained a little bit earlier, like I didn't start wholesaling until we partnered up 3 years ago. But these general questions that I had, how can we make this process easier for beginners? So imagine if I knew about this when I started. Imagine if you knew about this when you started. And that's when the gears started turning and we created this. So I just want to give some like motivation to the guys that get discouraged into going into real estate. I was literally the last person to ever get into real estate. Luckily, I partnered up with somebody, but always remember this, guys. The person who invented the bread loaf makes more than the farmer. You don't have to be the expert and do what everybody else is doing. Think outside of the box and just create something that makes everybody's lives easier in the industry you're in. It doesn't have to be real estate. That's just what we are doing. But remember that, guys.
I like it. Okay, so I think the last X factor that you guys aren't talking about is this, I call it confidence, but like this confidence, obviously, that you guys both have when it comes to talking to sellers, cold calling, all these things. How are you able to take someone, I know you're going to roll your eyes, but like, I'm scared. I don't, what do I say? I get nervous. And like, how do you turn that into just an absolute beast on the phones, talking to sellers and being super smooth? Because you say be smooth. It's easier said than done for a lot of people.
You're right.
How are you molding these men and women to just be absolutely amazing getting deals done?
I have a very, very, very simple answer to that question. Practice. It's a numbers game. It's 50 offers for a beginner to get a deal under contract. 50. You're going to have to hear the word no and suck it up 49 times and get excited every time and think, yes, I'm that much closer to number 50 where I can. And guys, this is the power of averages. This is predictable. It is a numbers game. You will get a deal if you make 50 offers, or at least, I mean, if you really suck, 60, 70. Yeah. You're still going to get a deal. Just make the offers, get the practice in. And the more practice you have, the more confident you become. Your confidence is a reflection of your belief of yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you don't think that you can do it, you can't do it.
You literally can't.
He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right? So you have to build that confidence from practice. Nobody's going to get on their first phone call and sound like I do, okay? Nobody's going to sound like they've done it for 7 years on their first fucking phone call. But you got to make that first phone call. So just make the phone call. Shit. Stop overthinking about it. So, yeah. You know what I mean? That's how you become. It's from practice.
Practice. Go on Craigslist. Go on Zillow, guys. Go to these shit listings and just bother these people. Just so you already know they're going to say no to you. So just go and try to sound professional. You know it's not a deal. Just call them.
There. Yeah. I suggest staying away from there if you actually want to deal. But
if you don't want to deal.
Yeah. But off market is obviously. I believe Zach is. You do everything off market, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured. So yeah, that's.
Well, let me go even crazier with you here. All right, this is something you guys can relate to. That is the most true statement. Do you guys play video games at all?
Hell yeah, dude.
Call of Duty.
Okay. You know what my favorite is? That your favorite video game?
I love Call of Duty.
Okay, I love Call of Duty too, and I'm very good at it because I practice like crazy. But my thing is, my favorite video game that's coming out is GTA 6. I think every young man loves that, right? Here's the thing about GTA. GTA has not been fun for me at all the past 3 years of my life because I'm living this life myself. Oh, I usually what you do, you grind to go get the cool car. Well, I grinded, now I have the cool car. I want to go upgrade my character. I just do it in real life, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be on a boat, just go buy a boat. And I know you guys are living that life too. And it's really, really funny when I ask a guy who's really good at GTA, like, how do I get a Lambo in GTA without doing anything? Oh, no, you need to earn your points and get your experience points up, and then you'll be able to earn it. No, same thing as in wholesaling. You have you start at zero, you got to build your way up, and there's a lot of grinding. Dude, homeboys will grind for 7 hours over a night to do missions and heists just to get
no real money.
and they're still broke. And the thing is,
they just put that energy towards
GTA. And if you want the car, you can grind it like crazy, and then boom, it's there. I don't know anybody who plays GTA 5 hours a day that doesn't have a sick car in there because they earned it. I don't know one guy in wholesaling that hasn't put thousands of hours in that is not insanely rich from doing it. You just got to switch your priorities. And it's a lot more fun having the actual real thing than the video game version.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done both. I used to be a broke kid just playing Xbox. Like, no job, no nothing. To live this life right now, it feels fake. We talk about it all the time. I'm grateful that it's a Monday. People right now that I know hate today. They hate Monday. They hated waking up. I loved waking up, knowing that we had a great podcast with you, and we're going to work right after this.
Dude, I hate Sundays and Saturdays because I get less deals sent in.
That's no action on the weekends.
My happiness is correlated how many deals I get closed, and so there's no closings on the weekends anymore. But that's awesome. So the last thing for you guys, like, how do you find buyers, or how are you dismoing your deals? Because obviously you send them good deals, but how do you find the good buyers?
Yeah. So good buyers are I call this the sniper approach. It's all about qualifying your buyers. You want buyers. If you go on Facebook to find your buyers, I think you're being foolish because these people are 90% wholesalers, and it's just not the way to find buyers. You want to find buyers that are one great way to verify if it's a real buyer is calling a hard money lender and saying, here's the deal. You can fund it. Give me your best buyer for it. Okay. They get you don't have to pay a joint venture fee. They're financially incentivized to make sure the deal closes.
That's nice.
And they're going to give you the best buyer for that deal. In fact, we've actually posted videos of doing exactly that, selling a deal in one phone call from calling a hard money lender and just saying, hey, this is the area. Give me the best buyer. And I've used that buyer several deals since because I know he's verified. He buys about 10 flips a month, and he's doing it in that specific area. So it's right in his wheelhouse. When you find the best buyer for the deal, it's a lot smoother.
Yeah.
So you don't, and the thing with wholesaling is you want to have limited walkthroughs. You want to sell it in one phone call. You don't want to I don't even like to do MailChimp. Okay. I don't like to blast my deal. No. I like private deals with people I trust that I can sell in one phone call. I have a different approach. I know companies that are doing $1 million a month that maybe, they do blast these deals. They do investor lift. Mm-hmm. I personally, I like a smoothness of a transaction. I like it to be done quicker. So I do that sniper approach where I find buyers that I know have history purchasing and a lot of transactions under their belt. This way I know they're not wasting my time when they walk through the property. Because the problem that you guys will notice is as a wholesaler, if you walk through the property once, you can say, hey, this is my contractor, right? With your buyer, right? You don't want to say, hey, this is the end buyer. That's just going to kind of blow up your deal. So you can say, okay, this is my contractor. I'm going through it with him. Second time, maybe this is the insurance guy, right? Third time, now you're running out of options. Okay. And because you wasted your opportunities to show the property and the seller is going to start thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Why are you walking through the property 3 times? This is why choosing the proper buyer is important. So, that's what I suggest you do. And also PropStream, there's a linked properties section. You can actually see how many what their portfolio looks like. You can see how assets that they own. You can see if they have $10 million in assets or if they, have one house. You can see how many properties they own on PropStream in the linked properties.
You can see the area, the bed and bathrooms they're investing in, the time frame that they buy in the past 6 to 12 months. So usually if you had a deal and you wanted it to get sold quickly, you can find a person or a LLC that's buying in that region where you have your deal under contract and find out who's buying up these properties in the area in the past 6 to 12 months.
Keep in mind, guys, you want to utilize the Secretary of State website. You're usually, if you're using PropStream or a website like that to find your buyers, if you're not going to do the hard money or through personal connections, which is mainly how I do it nowadays, but that's because I've been in the game so long. You're probably going to have to start on PropStream to find these people. So LLCs, you're not going to be able to skip trace an LLC. You're going to have to go to the Secretary of State website to find out who owns that LLC. And it's not the principal, it's the member. Remember, guys, it's called a member. The owner of the LLC is called a member. So you want to skip trace that. You can use Ben Verified, True People Search. Zach, what was the website you talked about earlier? It was called
cyber background checks.
Checks.
One of those three. Okay, use that once you find the member of the LLC. And it is worth the time, guys. This is a sniper approach. You're finding somebody that is actively buying in that area that's not going to bullshit you and waste your time and waste your walkthroughs. You get a couple of walkthroughs, don't blow it. Find the right buyer for that deal. That's my advice on buyers.
Dude, it's beautiful. Joe, John, thank you so much. I think I know more about you on this one than pretty much any of your social medias I've seen out there, because you just talk about, it's not about like the money. It's not about the cool stuff. It's just about the actual information, which I don't think is talked about enough. So this is really going to be mind blowing, I think, for everyone on here, and definitely more to come there. And I'm excited to see where you're at in the future, but I'm here to promote as many young men as possible who are making millions of dollars, giving free information and doing JVs. If I could stop these $15,000 coaching programs and just have you make money the way you're doing it, I'm all for it.
Hey, listen, man. I fucking love your business. I love your philosophy. You're all about helping people.
Oh yeah.
You're you have an amazing brand. You're always out here giving information to people, right. And I think we should do more videos like this.
I think so too.
Deep diving different topics and areas of real estate, because we have very similar business models as well.
And we're young.
I like it.
We're both killing it.
Yeah. So
I like to see it. So check them out. They have a YouTube channel. I will put it on the bottom of this description, and then obviously Enterprise Elite, and then all your socials and just comment on the video, and you can all see it. But guys, hit them up. I know they got a Discord. I do not know any of the links on that one, but you can mention it.
You can find it on Google or something.
Throw your link in
Enterprise Elite.
Yeah.
There we go. So guys, I appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe.